Hey, Buckeye Nation. Welcome to the Buckeye Cast, your only commercial-free Ohio State football podcast. These guys were born and bred in the Buckeye State, and they like to talk Buckeye football and drink bourbon. Subscribe and leave a review wherever you get your podcast. Now, pour a drink and pull up a stool. Here's your host, Joe Warwick.
We are back, baby. Shout out Frank Costanza. It's been a long time. We miss you. As the man up front said, the only commercial-free Ohio State podcast. Please share the show with people you love. If you care about somebody, why wouldn't you share this show with them? Honestly. I'm sorry, guys. I got Jeff and Shawn here. I tried really hard tonight, a couple hours ago, to not drink too much, and I failed miserably. So, if things get off the rails, Jeff, you're second in charge. No, Shawn, you're second in charge. Jeff, you're third in charge.
Good call.
Okay. All right. So, here we go. Don't forget, check out the Daily Blitz. Subscribe to the Buckeye Cast on YouTube or in the podcast form every day, 7 days a week. We never close. I am bringing you a 5-minute topic. Sometimes it bleeds into 10 minutes. Depends on how passionately I feel that day. Hit the supply store, thebuckeyecast.com. Boys, you got any bourbon talk you want to discuss quickly?
Nothing really to add, nothing sparkling, but I am finishing my last glass of rabbit hole tonight.
Your last
about three fingers. My last glass of that bottle of rabbit hole.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. Very nice. Very impressed.
I got a little Weller 12 right here, boys.
Oh, rub it in. Fuck you. Yeah. I have my Weller 12.
Hey, I get no respect here. Shawn, what about you? You got anything new in the cycle?
I was actually just over a buddy of mine last night. We had some nice cigars with some Elijah Craig.
Okay, that's good. That's a good bottle. I like that.
I first bottle of Elijah Craig I bought, went through it, bought a second one for stock. That's one of the maybe 4 or 5 I have like a stock of.
Yeah, that's solid.
I like it.
Solid.
Yeah, reasonably priced.
Yeah.
It's a good go-to.
Something to keep in stock.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so we got a ton of shit to get into, guys. I hope you
we do.
Drank your energy drinks or your whatever drinks. We're going to do tonight. We're going to finish our 2 deeps on the Ohio State defense. Then we're going to get into the Notre Dame pregame, get you hyped up for next weekend. We're in game week. We're like deep in the middle of game week already. And then we never logged our college football playoff predictions. Is this going to be like a 2 SEC playoff versus 2 Big Ten playoff scenario? I think it could play out that way. So we're going to get into that last, and if we have time, I'm not sure we will. We do have a few games I wanted to mention in week 1. I think I might have said this last week. There's a reason why they call it week 0 is because there's 0 teams worth caring about playing. So that's why we're not going to talk Nebraska and Northwestern. Okay.
I enjoyed watching that. That got my.
Can I have 30 seconds?
That's going to be last. That's got to be fucking last. We don't have time for that shit. I don't want to hear about how Scott Frost fucked it up by kicking an onside kick and whatever. I don't care. All right. Least priority of the night is Nebraska and Northwestern.
Fair enough.
Okay. So let's kick it off. And we're going to the defense. Let's look to the Buckeye defense. I'm talking 2 deeps. You guys want to give me what you got, or you want me to give you what I got? And I'll tell you where you're wrong.
I don't care.
So you will. You sure you want what I got?
Where do you want to start? We can just rotate it.
D line. Let's go D line. D ends. Shawn, you got 4 D ends?
I got at least 4.
Proceed.
Okay, so I think just based on the senior who's going to be the one there, that it's going to be Zach Harrison.
Senior Zach.
Yeah. And then I just in that same light to Tyler Friday as the other starting end. But that being said, I think JT and So are probably going to be our 2 best ends. But will they start the game? I don't know. I think it'll end up being Zach and Friday, but I think JT and Jack Sawyer are the 2 guys, and then you still Baptiste. I don't know where, but I feel like we're 5 deep, and Jack might be just game change type dudes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And the other guys are solid as shit. So
all right,
that's what I got.
Well, to keep it simple, we're just going to stick with 2 deeps, so we don't need to get into third string and guys that are floaters. Jeff, you want to jump on those, or do you want to just say that you're okay with those?
Yeah. I mean, Shawn laid it out the way it is. I would say the playing time, like plays per game, JTT and Jack probably 2-1 over Harrison and Friday. But I agree exactly what you're saying, Shawn, about the seniority. I mean, Tyler Friday's been through hell in this program. You know, Zach Harrison has. I don't know. I won't say. I'm not going to say he's underperformed. I'm not going to get off on a tangent about that.
You can say.
I think out of respect, you say underperformed. I mean, just maybe he didn't deserve the ranking he was given. Maybe it's that. Maybe he never asked for that 5-star rating. Maybe he didn't. Maybe it was just missed on that.
But nobody asked for me to be a 5-star host, but I am.
Okay.
I think what we're saying is he's overrated, and to say that he's been solid. Zach Harrison has been decent.
Yeah.
He's not been a bust, but he's not been. I mean, we thought he was the next Chase, and he's certainly not that.
And that's a high level to live up to.
No, but this kid's still going to play in the NFL. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I'm not. I wasn't trying to knock. I wasn't trying to slight him in any way. Just agreeing with Shawn. I think obviously JTT and Jack Sawyer have emerged. I think maybe have almost passed them when it comes to playing time. But Larry Johnson's going to rotate a bunch, so they're always going to be fresh. And if we have some of those 3rd and longs, those Rushman packages, you put JTT and Zach maybe down in the middle, and put Friday and Sawyer on the edge. Okay. I can see, what kind of, or any kind of combination of those 4 maybe, and Javante, of course, as well. So they're all going to get playing time, but there's the 2 sophomores, I think, have passed them in as far as emerging.
Exactly. That's why I'm going with those 2 as the starters. JT and Jack are your starters at the edge. And Jack is going to probably be that stand-up Leo/Jack position in this new defense. So JT and Jack starters.
Be in the backup then.
Well, Zach Harrison will be a backup, and then JJB will be the other backup. Yeah. Friday is probably 3rd deep in that defensive end rotation. Doesn't matter which end. Okay. So D tackles. I got Teron Vincent and Jerron Cage, the starters, the elder statesman, and then backing them up, Tyleik Williams is a guy that's lost weight. He's definitely going to get more playing time because last year he was just gassed. He was winded, and he's strong against the run and the pass. And then behind those guys, I got Ty Hamilton as the other backup D tackle, and Mike Hall has to factor into this combo somehow. What do you guys think?
I'm a little. I basically got the same thing. I think it's Vincent Cage, I think Tyleek is a super dynamic player you're going to see a lot of him. My concern is that you say, I mean, his come off the ball is so quick and devastating that I'm sure it's probably quicker now. But look, the teams that we lost against ran it down our throat. I'm really concerned that you start to lose weight. Are hey, what are we doing here? Are we, we need to stop the run up the middle there.
Yeah.
So
I agree. And Teron looked great against Utah. He had a great Rose Bowl, but it's like consistency with that guy, injuries, whatever it might be. It's just hard to get a consistent week-to-week expectation from him. Jeff, you got any differing opinion there on those four guys?
No, the older statesman, I think will end up starting. The two you mentioned, Hall and Tyleek, they're obviously going to be playing a lot. I think that playing time is going to still sort itself out as the season goes on. Remember, we're going to play a difference of offenses as well. Yeah. Some Iowas, Wisconsins, and then we're going to have some more Purdue's and those. And I just watched Illinois' offense, stuff that type of offense. So you're going to have probably different guys with different. They're probably better at different things, run versus pass, different packages. So, and we know Larry Johnson mentioned wanting to play 10 to 12 total D linemen.
Yeah.
Well, I think we just mentioned 10 right there. So there's going to be a rotation. I think who gets the majority of that rotation in the interior, I think that's going to depend on who can fight off blocks and control the run. I think that's where they're going to earn their spots.
Sure.
Super excited for Teron Vincent. I thought he was a better prospect coming in when him and Harrison came in. I liked him better. Just thought he was going to be great. Son of a very good NFL player. I was more excited about him than I was Zach Harrison. Injuries and everything else. Hopefully he shines this year. But
okay. So
same guy, same number. That's the rotation right there. What we just laid out.
Yeah. So you're looking at 8 to 10, maybe. I don't think we'll get to 12 guys across the front four, but we laid out a solid 8.
Injuries. Yeah.
9 with Mike Hall. So linebackers, this is where things get. The starters I think are solidified, especially coming off of last year, but the backups really have kind of thrown me for a loop because we've had some changing there. And then going against Notre Dame or Wisconsin, we're going to have to add a third linebacker. So starter at the mic, I got Tommy Eichenberg and Cody Simon backing him up. Last year, Cody Simon was the starter going into week 1 at the mic. Then on the wheel, Steel Chambers is obviously the starter. Chip Trainum, though, has become the backup very quickly. So another converted running back to linebacker, backing up the converted running back to linebacker. And then at the Sam, we're not going to use this every week, but in 3 to 4 games a season, I got Taraja starting at the Sam and EA and Reed Carrico possibly mixing in there. But as far as a 2 deep goes, that's what I'm going with. Jeff, what do you think? You got something different in mind?
No, that's pretty much all we've heard. Any coach is talking about the defense, any linebackers that have been mentioned, it's been Eichenberg, EA, Steele, and Cody Simon barely. I'm shocked because even watching all last season, I did not see Tommy Eichenberg as a better prospect than Cody Simon. But we never really knew about the injuries, though. I know Cody Simon, his shoulder was torn up. We don't know what that took out of him.
It was a labrum.
Labrum, right? Maybe he's not the same player he even was, or they don't think he can reach the potential they thought he could at one time. I'm shocked that Eichenberg has really taken a hold of the linebacker spot.
I think that 17 tackles in the Rose Bowl and defensive player of the game really carried a lot of weight.
Maybe that proved a bunch in that room. Maybe in that room, like in that program, like inside, maybe it did more than it didn't. Watching it, it didn't do that for me. Like, holy shit, we got a fucking stud here.
But Jim Knowles, in every interview with Jim Knowles, he goes out of his way to talk about Eichenberg's strengths and his diagnosing plays. Not necessarily his athletic ability, but he's quiet, focused, takes a lot of notes, knows how to diagnose plays. And I think, I don't want to say this just because of his color, but we might be looking at a Tough Borland scenario here.
Well, I was just going to say, what do you think Jim Knowles would say about Tough Borland going into his senior year? Yeah. I mean, Tough had been a 2-year starter.
He would love him. Everyone loves Tough Borland.
Right. I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
I think Tommy
I love Tough Borland too. I'm a Tough Borland fan. As long as he don't make him cover receivers, he's fine.
Well, yeah, I mean that's scheme. That I blame the defensive coordinator on that.
Of course I do. That's what my thought is when I think of that name. Unfortunately,
Joe, you're not comparing them. You're not comparing them because they're white. You're comparing them because they're slow, and so they are both. Not probably as fast as most of the linebackers in that room, but. The thing is, they have huge football IQs, and they make plays. You're 0.2 seconds faster when you can diagnose it quicker. So they make up for it on the other stuff, and I think they got good leadership. With you, I think it's what you're hearing is Eichenberg and Chambers. I'm not so solidified on anything else besides that. I've heard good things about all these guys. It seems to be a positive room, and I don't know who's gonna end up playing, and depending on how the season goes, I mean, it's all new coaches. I mean, it looks like Steele and Tommy right now, but if you don't perform, there's not a ton of loyalty built up there where they're going to keep them in just for out of something that they own because they don't.
Right, and this 2D could change a lot. I could see Taraja moving up in the Mike linebacker spot ahead of Cody Simon. And I think Cody Simon, I hate to say it, but he could be looking for a new home.
I thought he showed a lot of promise
I think a couple of these guys are going to end up leaving.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I agree. I agree with both of you guys. But I mean, is that really? Maybe we just missed on a few guys. Maybe a few guys do need to move on.
It's a stacked room, and we're only playing two typically.
Yeah,
it's a stacked freaking room.
And there's two true freshmen that from all accounts are for real, are progressing nicely. C.J. Hicks, Gabe Powers, and Powers may be moving around to that rush end, but more that outside linebacker, but. Yeah, maybe a couple do need to move along. And Sonny Styles, where's he going to end up? In a couple of years as he keeps growing. They said that if they want to keep that dude at safety, he might be like a 3-4 outside linebacker.
He's 17 years old and he's 6'4", 220.
That's what I'm getting at. Getting at. He might be that 3-4 outside linebacker, Lawrence Taylor. You know what I mean? And then they're gonna change the defense if he becomes what they think he might. Well, then here's your Jack, your Leo, whatever the fuck you want to call him, your wild card. Yeah, I think him and put him on 20 pounds.
Yeah, I think
keep his speed.
Yeah, I think this linebacker room has a lot of movement going on. Hopefully, nobody quits in the middle of a game and throws a fucking tirade.
What an embarrassment! That was just embarrassing as a program. Yeah. Like you have a dude that's doing that shit.
Yeah.
It's
proud to say that he blocked me on Twitter when I told him to put down his phone. Him and Marcus Williamson. Oh, by the way, Marcus Williamson, what are you doing? Apparently he's kidnapping women down in Tennessee and not doing well.
What?
Yeah, he's a train wreck.
I didn't hear this.
These two guys, I got into it with both of them on Twitter,
real quick.
as did a lot of other people. They were talking shit after the season about how the coaches were racist at Ohio State and this and that. I was like, dude, just put down your fucking phone. I was trying to be nice. That was the nicest thing I could have said. Nope, blocked. And now where you at? In jail. So anyway, let's move it along. We got a lot to get to, boys. Corners. Let's start with the outside corners. This is pretty cut and dry. I don't know how we could argue about this. I got Denzel and Cam at your starters. A lot of this hinges on Cam being 100% healthy game in and game out. And then behind them, behind Denzel, I got J.K. Johnson and then Jordan Hancock. What do you guys think?
Exactly.
I'm exactly. Then what else?
Isn't one of them dinged up? Jordan or
he's
Jordan
back.
is.
Hancock's back.
Okay.
J.K. Johnson's made some strides though. They're really happy with his development over the.
But he was a top 50 player now, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was a higher recruit. I knew they were both top 100, but I thought J.K. was top 50. He was
they were
high,
both
high
4 stars.
Okay. But yeah, it seemed like all the there was a lot of talk coming out of spring and stuff about Jordan Hancock as he's moved to that number 3 corner spot. But yeah, J.K.'s been coming on lately. I feel good with those 4 if those 4 stay healthy.
Yeah, you got to remember we're only playing 2 corners at a time,
right?
Because we're going with a nickel slot safety type with Tanner McAllister or Cam Martinez as what you would call your nickel.
But I mean, I'm sure I'm going to be able to count more on more than 2 hands how many times I see 3 corners on the field at a time.
Okay.
I think it's just going to happen. Plus, there's going to be injuries, tweaked hamstring, hamstrings, knees, whatever during the season.
And they're cross training. They've been cross training McAllister and Cam Martinez and Jansen Dunn as outside corners through fall camp.
As they should.
To build depth when Jordan Hancock went down, they realized that they need to add more depth. And they only have 6 corners, scholarship corners, in the fucking room. So depth there is a concern if 1 or 2 guys go down. So let's get to the safeties now. I'm going to lay out these because these 3 different safeties have very different roles. So the free safety, what you would typically call that, is the adjuster in this defense. Ronnie Hickman is that. Think of him like your Jordan Fuller, your last man standing, take away the big play guy. I got Ronnie Hickman there, and I got Latham Ransom backing him up. Then on the bandit role, which is basically the boundary strong safety, he's on the strong side of the field. I got Proctor starting, of course, and Court Williams backing him up. And I believe from everything that we've talked about with these interviews that Court Williams will be the safety if they're in a run formation on offense. So Court Williams will come in versus a third linebacker at times. Not every time, just sometimes. Okay.
I was going to mention that as well, Joe. I think we probably heard the same information.
Okay. And then nickel / slot shots. So the nickel slot safety, Tanner McAllister, I think will start, but Cam Martinez has given him a good run for his money, and I feel good about both those guys. So those are your 3 safeties. You guys have any thoughts on those?
I think any of those 6 could start at any school in the Big Ten.
Of course, yeah.
It is to me we're solid at all of those. Those are all dudes that you.
And they're all healthy. Latham Ransom being healthy.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have thought it.
Yeah. 9 months ago, he had a snapped leg.
Oh, that was so gross. Too. Yeah, I saw it instantly.
Proctor had the same thing though in September.
Early in Oregon, right? Oregon game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad to see they're all healthy. Super excited. Hickman, Proctor. I mean, I wish Jordan Fuller was walking through those doors, but he's not.
I think Hickman is comparable.
I love Hickman. I love Proctor. I still don't know. Obviously, I don't remember any tape of McAllister, so I couldn't tell you. I couldn't think of one play I saw him make. Nor did I watch Oklahoma State defense that closely.
Well, Jim Knowles thought that he was on his way to the NFL, maybe as a lower round pick, but still could have made it to the league. But instead, he decided to transfer over. And
I'll take if Ryan Day puts his faith in this D coordinator, and this D coordinator puts his faith in this kid to bring him over, thinking he would actually have a shot at contributing at Ohio State, and now we find out that he actually will be. I'll count that as I'll count that as the blessing of he's an available high state player or he's up to the level, I guess to say.
Yeah. Okay. So seems like we got a pretty good 2 deep build up right on the defense. Any debates there?
These kids are recruited through the roof. I mean, they're raised through the roof. What is it? I mean, if it was a scheme last year, we have a scheme. These kids are all fucking talented. We got depth. We got depth at every position. We have talent, 4 and 5 star at every position.
Yeah.
Now's the time to show it.
Okay.
And now, I'm super excited. I think they have the potential's huge.
I'm worried about the talent's there. We think the mind and Knowles is there. The big question mark for me is the culture there. Are these guys now tough? They got bullied in games last year.
Up front, you're talking
and
about. I think Cam Brown's ready to go.
Oregon, Michigan, Utah, and Minnesota to an extent. Anybody that had any success ran it right down our throats. So, and I don't think it was a lack of talent. I think that's attitude and that's heart. So we get that figured out. And it concerns me the coaches coming from the Big 12 where not a lot of teams do it like that.
No, that's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, I feel good about the change in mindset. I think Mick Marotti has changed, or he's gone back to probably their training from 2 years ago. I think Ryan Day told Mick to pull off the stick a little bit this last year, and you see what it cost us. So I think toughness-wise, if there's a toughness issue again this year in the trenches or elsewhere, then we have major culture problems. And I don't see that being the issue. I don't see that being.
It would be major because the coach, the head coach, has made no hidden secrets about it of what he was trying to address this year. I mean, he's made it public. He made that the focus.
And Coach Mick did back in the spring too when they had interviews.
So they're telling us what they're focusing on because they saw what the fans saw. And if they were still not to correct it, that could. Then what is that? That's a flag. That's at least a flag to investigate. Look into that.
I'll take it a step further. I'll say that's a fireable offense.
I don't see how it could be missing. As much as the focus that they've made it this year, I can't imagine it becoming that's the issue. Now there's going to be some games where we might, last possession of the game have to come out, score a touchdown to win. But that might not necessarily be because they failed us with the toughness teaching. But we shouldn't see the manhandling that we got up front like last year.
Yeah, I love handling men. Anyway, so let's put a pin in that, and we got to get on to this Notre Dame game. I almost feel like this could be like 2 separate shows we've gone so far, but we got to talk Notre Dame. We got to get ready for this. So the Irish coming in week 1. This is a huge game. Like, it's hard to say that there's playoff implications in week 1, but there are, honestly, for both teams. What's funny is when you want an injection of true serum I always go to Vegas. I look to Vegas. And not to that girl named Chastity. I go to the casinos, and I look to their team over-unders. Shawn, you know Chastity?
I do not.
Okay.
Never.
Hey, you should. I'll give you her number. Anyway, next time you're in the desert, Vegas has Notre Dame's over-unders at 8.5 this year. Now, they do go heavy on the juice, minus 145 on the over. Plus 115 on the under. Shawn and I, when we did our team over-under show a couple weeks ago, we both went under 8.5 on this team. We're not going to break down the schedule right now. Horse shit.
Okay. I would have taken the over at 9-3. That's why I see them kind of ending up.
Okay. Well, we disagree.
Okay.
So, anyways,
all right.
This does have playoff implications, and this is a big game. This is your headliner for Week 1, obviously. Notre Dame's lost the last 4 versus the Buckeyes, and they weren't really close. You got the former Buckeye, Marcus Freeman, coming in, 36-year-old, first-time head coach. Lost his bowl game last year. He's 0-1. Terrible start. I will say he's recruiting better than Brian Kelly, though. He's got the number 3 class in the country for 2023. He's talked a lot of shit. Had to walk some of it back thanks to his boy Threes, Laurinaitis, on his staff. And how does a fucking 35-year-old guy become a GA? It should be illegal. Like, are you really going to class? I kind of doubt it, Laurinaitis.
No, he's not going to class.
He's a GA. GAs typically have to go to class.
He's also the best man at the head coach's wedding.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Well, he's consigliere too. So
hey, another topic for another show, Joe.
No.
Why was James? What was the real reason why James wasn't coaching or on?
I think you'd have to ask Ryan Day about that because he met with Ryan Day. I don't know. Anyways, it doesn't matter. He's got his boy 33 in there as his consultant, I guess, and linebackers coach probably. What's interesting to me is when Brian Kelly left, all the assistants at Notre Dame decided to stay. Tommy Reese, all those guys, all the O-line coach, everybody. Nobody left and went to LSU with Brian Kelly. Kind of maybe a window into that guy's soul. So last year they lost to Cincinnati and Oklahoma State in that bowl game. I can't really put much on that bowl game. That was, whatever. So to get into
Jim Knowles did not coach in that. He did not coach the defense in that game.
Right, yeah. Because the mullet has a grudge. But so I'm gonna lay out a few things. Let's go position group by position group. I'll lay out these things, and you guys I'll give you a moment to kind of give me your 2 cents. Notre Dame really has not changed over 100 years. They're strong and consistent on the O-line, D-line, although they are scoring a little more often. Their offense last year was 19th in scoring, but 83rd in rushing, 20th in passing. And that was with noodle arm Jack Cohn. So they got to replace their top passer, Jack Cohn, and their top running back, Kyron Williams, and their top receiver, Kevin Austin. So they do return 7 starters, all 5 O-linemen, and then their monster, the tight end, Mike Mayer. So offensive coordinator, Tommy Reese, he's in his 3rd year. Last year he was running Brian Kelly's offense and not really his own. So it'll be interesting to see how he changes things, goes to more of his own style of play calling, because obviously Freeman is not having a lot of input on the offense, right? I mean, he probably has a general philosophy, but he's not, having input on play calling and shit like that. So, do you guys have anything you want to touch on in the offense?
Yeah, Joe. I mean, with him being the D coordinator last year and Reese running the offense last year, they knew that there was this, I got my side, you got your side. I would imagine that he made it pretty much the same way. Like, hey, Tommy, if you're going to stay, I appreciate you staying. It's your deal. Run your thing. But remember, Tommy Reese played under Brian Kelly. So the only offense he played in college was under Brian Kelly, and then he ran Brian Kelly's offense as he was a coach. And so I would imagine there's a lot of similarities, a lot of habits in that. He probably has different variations, according to talent and stuff like that. But it's, for the most part, I would imagine it's a lot like what he was been running over the past 8 years or so.
Right. Yeah.
There's going to be some similarities, is what I'm saying.
I understand. So let's start off with this position group by position group breakdown. We won't get too deep into it, but I do want to touch on the details. So they just named the quarterback Tyler Buckner. He's a 6'1", 215-pound sophomore from San Diego, also known as a whale's vagina. Apparently he's a former 5-star. I don't remember that in the recruiting rankings. Somebody wrote that, so it must be true. It was on the internet. So he won the job over third-year sophomore Drew Pine. That guy must really suck.
Pine.
Yeah. Pine for an arm. So our guy Buckner here played in 10 games, but he only has 35 pass attempts. Okay?
He likes to run it. I heard that.
Exactly, yeah. So he has under 300 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Doesn't seem like a good ratio to me. But his rushing, 46 attempts for 336 yards. That includes sacks, by the way, but 3 touchdowns. So they say he has a stronger arm than Jack Cohn, better deep ball, which, who doesn't? I have a better deep ball. Shawn, I think you have a better deep ball than Jack Cohn, right?
I guarantee I do.
I fucking better hope. But his foot
definitely
speed,
right-handed.
Yeah, but his foot speed allows him to open up parts of the playbook, like zone read, RPOs, quarterback sweeps, whatever, rollouts. So look for that. Obviously,
I mean that's always scary stuff with a quarterback like that. They obviously present their own problems, but just to piggyback on the Freeman new coach, basically new quarterback, like you said, hasn't done anything much. It could be a threat, probably is a decent player, but it's all so early. The world's about to come crushing down on him here in a moment.
Life comes at you fast, young buck.
But I think he's their best chance, which is slim.
Yeah. Jeff, you got any input on the quarterback?
Yeah, I picture a lot of a lot of Taylor Martinez.
Bad decision making, but he can run.
Well, I mean, maybe with more talent, but that type of play, where if you just rush forward and just go crazy, he just steps up and just bleeds you. If you're playing man-to-man coverage, he just takes off and he's getting you for 20. But if you sit back and make him be a quarterback, he's probably going to give you the ball. There's going to be a lot of RPO to Mayer. They're obviously going to try to find mismatches. Who are we going to match up with Mayer? I think it's probably the biggest part of the game plan. Wouldn't be surprised, real quick, to see a lot of Court Williams coming in. Maybe a lot of that mirroring the quarterback. Bringing somebody in like Court that can stay with him, but somebody big enough to bring him down. He's a good-sized kid.
Yeah, 215 is big for 6'1".
So, and he can move. So that in the open field and stuff. So, wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of, because I don't picture they're outside hurting us.
No.
You know what I mean? They got some injuries at receiver, right?
Yep.
So,
Yeah, the O-line is like the staple of their offense. They're one of the best in the country. All 5 starters are back this year. And they do have an injury. They've been hit with injuries pretty badly in fall camp, but one of their O-linemen, fifth-year guy, Jarrett Patterson, he is questionable to make it to the Ohio State game. He's out right now with a 7 to 10 day foot injury. And they've had some other little injuries on the O-line, so they could easily be down a man or two when it comes game time. Running backs, 83rd rushing last year in the country. That's pretty disgusting. And keep this in mind when I tell you that. Buckner, who was not the starting quarterback last year, was the second leading rusher on the team. And then the wide receiver was the third leading rusher on the team last year. And that leading rusher is gone. So, what's that leave us? Well, it leaves us 2 dudes dressed like nuns. Logan Diggs and Chris Tyree. They're probably going to split carries. Logan Diggs, last year he had 230 yards on 52 carries, 3 touchdowns. He's been injured in camp as well. I don't think he's –
wow.
I still don't think he's taking contact in practice. He's wearing the pussyfoot red jersey, which over there.
So you tell me they have one scholarship. They have one scholarship running back in camp right now, going full go.
2, Chris Tyree and Logan Diggs. The one returning starter was Logan Diggs, or the one returning guy with experience.
Yeah, but you said he's not taking contact.
Right.
Okay, so I'm saying like there's one running back taking contact in practice. That's troubling.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear this. I hate to hear this. I don't want any fucking excuses from these people as to we came in half fucking full. We were a mash unit when we showed up in Columbus and play us at the end of the year. I don't want to hear any of that dog shit.
I don't think you
Get
will.
fucking healthy.
I think everybody Notre Dame, and
I hope they're
no
healthy.
excuse. I think Notre Dame realized.
I feel real confident about our best versus their best. I want to see their best. I don't want to hear any bullshit reasons, because this game is important, because both teams are going to put this game on their resume. Winner or loser, it's going to be, is it a good loss for Notre Dame? Is it a statement win for Ohio State? It's going to be on their resumes regardless.
Right, and that's the thing. It's going to affect the playoffs one way or another.
I want their best. I would love to have their absolute best and beat the dog shit out of them. Mm-hmm. It just helps our resume. No excuses for your injured players.
Yeah.
Everybody gets fucked sooner or later. That. The time's you're up.
Exactly. But you know how they go. They say shit like this.
After me, Lucky Charm.
Uh-oh.
After me, Lucky Charm.
That was terrible. Useless. All right. So the tight end, Michael Mayer, last year he went for he had 70 fucking catches, 71 for 840 and 7 touchdowns. You could make the case that he's the best tight end in the country. All-American type. He's going to create some serious matchup nightmares for the Buckeyes. So it'll be interesting to see how the defense lines up on him, and how if they double him, if they roll up, and I don't know, maybe bring up a big guy and a small guy. Who knows? But getting to the wide receiver room, so they have 65. This is super thin. Like, this wide receiver room is a fucking mess. I don't know how these guys have no depth. How does nobody go there? They have 65 receptions from last year returning in the wide receiver room. 65 catches among everybody. They got 6 scholarship receivers, including a former walk-on and an old guy that's out with a foot injury.
An old guy? They got a Rudy on offense?
My boy, Blue.
What are you talking about? Get the fuck out of here.
And
did they lose 2 guys in camp? Have they lost 2 receivers in camp?
Their receiver, Avery Davis, is out with a torn ACL. And They only have 2 returning receivers that have caught more than 20 passes. Braden Lindsey and Lorenzo Styles. Styles had a breakout game in the Fiesta Bowl. He'll probably be in the slot. You got Lindsey and a guy named Deion Colsey on the outside. Lindsey has inconsistency issues, and Styles is only a fucking sophomore. Sound like trouble?
Well, with our defensive backfield, they still have to kind of show us our corners. I think we're good. I feel confident.
If these guys are no good, then get aggressive, go man. I hear, Knowles wants to go be aggressive, do some man, and do some blitzing.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you man up on the outside, and then you can have a guy near the quarterback.
But that mobility, exactly. The mobility of the quarterback is where you got to blitz, but blitz with caution, kind of. I would say
control, right?
Yeah, and you got to I think you still got to have 2 dudes over Mayer, one under and one over, right?
Well, you know what, Joe? In seeing that video you sent me yesterday about Baron Browning, I'm like, we need an outside linebacker like Baron Browning to cover. That's the matchup we need. A 6'4", 6'4.5", 250-pound linebacker that can run, matching up with Michael Mayer.
I thought you were talking about that other video.
No, the donkey? No, the Baron Browning one. But that linebacker type that we had and we misused or didn't take advantage of for years. That's another story again, but. That's the kind of dude we need to It would be a matchup. He took Freiermuth completely out of that Penn State game.
Yeah,
you remember?
Yeah.
And Freiermuth is looking pretty good as an NFL tight end. How do we do that? Do we match up the length of Proctor or the size of Court Williams?
Yeah.
But he's a fucking problem. The jump balls, if they get in the red zone, he's getting at least one of those 3 downs. As good as a toss to him every time. Yeah. So, who can win those 50-50 balls with him? It's going to be a tough matchup. I mean, they could get, a bullshit field position whenever they get in the red zone. They throw a fucking 50-50 up to him, and he wins. He's going to be a great tight end in the NFL. Could happen. So, we definitely got to. God damn it! I'm sorry.
Let's flip over to the defense. So last year, this defense was 15th in scoring, 37th against the run, 64th against the pass. This is only Marcus Freeman's second year with this defense. Al Golden is his defensive coordinator. You probably heard of him before. They're running kind of a hybrid 3-4. They do have 8 returning starters on defense, most of them along the front 7. And this is really OSU. The Buckeyes are going to test the depth of this defense, especially in the secondary. They blew a 28-7 lead in the Fiesta Bowl against Oklahoma State. That has to be somewhat concerning. Oklahoma State threw for 371 yards against them. I assume that they're over that. D-line. You have all 4 returning starters. Their edge rusher, Isaiah Foskey, is a first-round NFL draft pick type. He finished with 11 sacks. The guy will drop into coverage and play an off-ball linebacker type, like a walkout. Then inside they got a 5th-year D-tackle, Jason Adamiola. He's strong against the run and the pass. So those 2 guys up front are concerns. Linebacker, they got 3 of the 4 back. J.D. Bertrand led the team with over 100 tackles. He's a stud. He's definitely going to be leading that inside. And then you might remember safety Brandon Joseph transferred in from Northwestern. He led the country in interceptions as a freshman in 2020. Remember him? I think he had a pick against us in the Big Ten championship game once. Corner depth is a huge concern. They have 2 sophomores and a freshman in the back behind these starters. But Clarence Lewis, 3-year starter, he has 1 pick. This is last year's stats. 1 pick, 3 PBUs, but he has a 64 completion percentage against him. Cam Hart has 2 picks, had 2 picks and 5 PBUs last year, and a 48.5% completion percentage. And then Tariq Bracy was your slot corner. He had a pick and 2 PBUs, but allowed a 61% completion percentage. Do you guys sense a weakness there?
Against our receivers, yes.
Yes. Yes? Yes.
Correct.
I think every secondary is a weakness to our receivers, and Stroud.
Yes.
Till proven otherwise.
Right now, yeah, they could easily go out and prove it. They play press man and they gamble and they keep fighting and they just they get some flags, but they just get away with a bunch of shit because they just fight all game. That could happen, but I got to see it. So until then, I'm going to take all the hype behind our receivers because I'm very confident in that.
Yeah. So you start off, you shut down that edge rusher, Foskey. Whatever edge he lines up on, and then you protect the middle, and whatever they do with the linebackers, who knows? Marcus Freeman is going to have some crazy shit. He's going to throw some crazy linebacker blitzes and maybe even corner blitzes and shit like that. So you just got to be ready for that. But these corners giving up 64 and 61% completions is not good. Sounds to me like you got to work the outside of the field, right?
Yeah, if our guys are just catching the ball with a 2-yard distance between the DBs, they're fucked all game. Yeah. If we can just complete passes at 8, 10, 15 yards, our receivers are going to do the rest of the work.
Right.
You need to press them and hope you get 3s and outs. Yeah. You can't let us just complete the pass, because then we'll just. Ryan Day will just dial everything up. He'll send the guy deep at a certain angle to draw your help, and then dude's roaming across the middle and guys.
And wave at Isaiah Pryor while you're running past him.
Is he at Notre
Former
Dame?
Buckeye, yeah.
Is he really?
Yeah.
He's got to be his last year, right?
Well, he's been there a couple, so maybe he might have one more COVID year or something. So let's get into our score predictions. Seems like we got a heavy lean in one direction. Let's start with you, Jeff. Well, what do you think? The score or the spread is jumped up in the last week. It's up to 17. Over/under is 58.
58 is over/under.
Yeah.
I was wondering if the score had jumped even further. I'd heard 17 earlier in the week, but it had been growing, so I didn't know if it was going to be the 18
That's
by
what
this
she
weekend.
said.
Yeah, grower, not a shower. 17. I think the Buckeyes cover 17. And I'll go 44-17.
Oh, okay.
Kick the season off.
You nailed it.
Honoring the 0-2 team. Tressel was there. Yeah. Tressel's going to see some running the ball.
Emotions running high.
I think we just do it. I think I can see that being about the score gap.
Okay.
Turnovers, injuries, all that. You could throw all that shit in there. Who knows? That could be the score difference.
That's almost a 4-touchdown win.
I could fucking see it.
Okay. What do you think, Shawn? You think it's similar?
I almost exactly similar, but not quite exactly. I 45-17.
Oh, nice. I like your math. Huge math guy. I'm going 48-20. I think
we're all right there.
Yeah. This is definitely a 4-touchdown win, and it's not close. I think this defense actually comes out and makes a statement in this first week. I think Jim Knowles and these players, especially the players, they're tired of hearing about this bullshit about 2021, how you guys look like trash. I think they're coming out to set the tone because we have like 8 returning starters at least, maybe 10.
And they're all fucking studs. It's not like these are all the blue chip of the blue chip.
So yeah,
and now they have the scheme.
Push their back against the wall, and they're going to come out fighting. So that's what I got. This is a domination. Maybe it's a close first half, but as usual, the Buckeyes take these teams into deep waters, and that's what I mentioned earlier about the Notre Dame defense is their depth. Buckeyes will take them in to the deep waters and see what happens. So let's get into our microscopes. Remember, we do microscopes. New listeners, this is our segment where we focus on one player on offense and one player on defense. Each of us picks our own player, and that's who we think you need to focus on this week. Shawn, you got somebody that turns you on?
A lot of things turn me on, but yeah, what are we going offense here?
Let's go offense first, yeah.
All right, yeah, let's go with my man Julian Fleming.
Ooh, I like it.
Good pick.
You know, I think I know what I'm going to see out of a lot of the guys, but you know, I feel like it's between Fleming and Ibuka for that spot. I could almost put a slash in there, but
sure.
You know, I'm hearing Fleming's balling out. He got that Iron Buckeye award, and so yeah, I want to see him put it on the field. Excited to see this kid become the guy that we all thought he'd be.
Okay, Jeff, what do you have on offense?
Right tackle DeJuan Jones.
Oh, I've heard of him.
Yeah, we've heard a lot about him. Show me your first-round NFL tackle.
Have you been listening to the Daily Buckeye Blitz?
Maybe.
No. False. Okay, that's good. That's a good pick. I like going up front. And
there's going to be a lot of attention to Paris Johnson. Obviously, there's going to be, Herbie's going to be talking. Here's your first-round lineman. Blah 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 blah. Mm-hmm. DeJuan Jones is going to get tested right off the bat here. Show me something, DeJuan Jones. Protect CJ and let this offense go.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going Travion. I know it sometimes can be easy to choose one of the big three, but there's fucking 3 of them, so you got to choose one of them. I think this is going to be a feasting. Travion's going to hammer that shit. I see him going for $150, even though this front 7 for Notre Dame is all returning starters except for maybe like one guy. So I go Travion. Shawn, let's swing back around to you for the defensive side of the ball.
Defense. Well, I don't know if it'll be fair to pick him much after this, so I'm going to start out with JTT at the DN position.
Oh, yeah.
You know, hear a lot of things about him too, and Jack for that matter. But I feel like this guy's going to turn into that game wrecker that Chase was, that Zach could have been.
Yeah.
Hoping to see that out of this kid.
I like it. Jeff, what do you got on defense?
All right. Okay. First, I think hopefully after this week, JTT and Jack are no longer allowed to be chosen as players to watch because they're going to be on a level of Nick or Joey.
Because you're taking Jack?
Or Chase. Because no, not at all. But I think they're going to be. I expect them to perform so well that we're no longer going to be able to just spotlight them.
Well, I like to expect myself to perform well, but it doesn't always work.
Well, who's putting the spotlight on them?
Fortunately, I don't play defense for the Buckeyes.
No, for this first game, I got to go with our starting middle linebacker,
Eichenberg.
Gotcha. Let's, hey man, you had 17 tackles in the Rose Bowl, and that's how I would describe his performance in the Rose Bowl. He had 17 tackles. That's all I can say about it.
Okay.
Take control of this defense. If you're so smart that you just know the shit and you can direct everybody, let's see it. Perform well.
Point your way to a bunch of tackles.
Control this defense. You have studs all around you, everywhere, behind you, in front of you. Show it.
I kind of I followed Shawn's way of thinking, and I think this is going to be JT and Jack. Let's meet at the quarterback kind of scenario.
I hope so.
Every snap.
I totally see it.
I'm taking Jack, obviously, and we'll see. I in my predictions preseason, I got double-digit sacks for JT and Jack both. So we'll see how that pans out. Buckeyes win easily, and we'll see how these predictions go. We'll follow up next week, and I'll tell you where Jeff and Shawn fucked up. And so quickly, I got like two things I want to talk about. Number one, I need your college football playoff Final Four. Shawn, what do you have? Oh, first of all, do you think that 2 SEC and 2 Big Ten teams are possible for your Final Four?
Possible, definitely, but
okay. Not likely.
Not with my. I mean, it's as likely as anything, but that's not what I'm going with.
Okay.
I'm not going with 2 from anywhere. I think this is a collision course, Ohio State, Alabama type of year. I think we meet them to decide it. And I think the other 2 people that are going to sneak in here, I think Clemson's probably going to backdoor into this thing on a fucking wuss schedule.
They're going to get it past the Canes, you think?
I think, I think Clemson's going to figure out a way to get in here probably. And then I'm going to go with Utah.
Ooh. Totally out of the box. Shout out Mormons. We love you guys. You have the best families.
Because they're so big.
No, I agree. Those are good choices. Jeff, what do you have?
I had the exact same fucking 4, man.
Oh, you guys
I did.
suck.
I think Utah wins.
Did you guys talk about this before?
No, I haven't talked to Shawn offline here in a long time.
Okay, then I'll change mine to Georgia and Michigan.
well, I don't think we need to change. I mean, but I can talk through this real quick. I think Georgia loses to Alabama in the SEC title game, but I think that gives Georgia 2 losses, and then, so I think that eliminates Georgia. I want to say, the first 4 that popped in my head were Utah, Clemson, Ohio State, Alabama.
I was going to take a flyer on USC.
That's legit. That's legit.
I think Utah beats USC head to head, and that's why I took Utah. I mean, I thought I was going to give a spot to one of those 2 because I could see that they're playing each other with 1 loss apiece, maybe.
Okay. So what are you going with? Same?
I don't know who can beat
You're
Clemson
allowed.
in the
You
ACC.
can go the same.
I think I need to go the same because I'm looking at the ACC. NC State has 17 returning starters. It's the best team that this guy's ever had in his program history. And if it's not NC State, I don't see it. I don't see Miami beating Clemson. I see Clemson maybe losing to Notre Dame, but that doesn't affect them playing for their ACC championship, getting that extra win, and getting in. So I'm going to stick with Shawn and do the same. Shawn, how do you have Clemson and Utah, 3 or 4? Who's who? I'll put Utah. I'll put Utah 3. I'll probably go Utah 3. Utah 3?
Yeah, I'll probably go Utah.
I'll go Utah 3, Clemson 4.
Wow.
Yeah, all right. Me and Shawn we're sharing the money. We're split. We're sharing it.
Okay. Well, I like to throw my 2 cents in here, so I'm going Ohio State, Bama. Buckeyes beat Bama for the championship, but the other 2 teams that we have to roll through to get to our climax is Georgia and Clemson. I think the Pac-10, Pac-12, whatever they are now, completely out of the picture. I think in the committee's eyes, the Pac-12 has lost complete credibility. Nobody gives a shit. I know Utah's tough. They play different. It's like they belong in the Big Ten. They play Big Ten football. But not enough. Not enough to get into the playoffs. The committee is always going to go SEC heavy. fuck was that? Anyway, Ohio State. I was trying to figure out a scenario where Ohio State and Michigan and Bama and Georgia could be in the playoffs. I just can't come up with it.
Oh, I can. If Michigan runs the tape, if Michigan's undefeated when they play us,
we
beat them in a close game, and then obviously win the Big Ten championship. I mean, I could see them getting in that scenario.
Then that means the rest of the country, like the other teams up there in the top 10, would have to like be two loss teams.
Well, okay, and Joe, Michigan would have to be 4 going into the game with us. If we would say we were 2 or 1.
Well, if they're undefeated, they
would have to be in already. They would have to be in already going into our game.
Right. Both teams could be undefeated.
For them to lose and then still get in.
But then,
and it can't be a blowout. But if it's a good football game,
I get you.
And it's going to take other people playing that day to lose. You know that.
Right,
you know
right,
that's what it'll come down to.
My concern is the lack of being Big Ten champion. Like typically, we've never seen 2 Big Ten champions. I mean, 2 Big Ten teams in. Regardless,
but we got in without being the champion.
Yes, we did
in 16.
Once,
yeah. And we got shut out by Clemson with Shawn Watson.
Yeah.
But that's because Penn State had 2 losses. If Penn State didn't have 2 losses, into
I know. So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. 2 losses.
They would have went instead of us because there was another team involved.
The other teams like
State,
say Clemson, USC, or Utah. Who we're talking about in this mix, they have to have at least 1 or 2 losses. Same with Georgia. You can't have 2 SEC teams with 1 loss, and then Ohio State and Michigan both with 1 loss or something like that, where just one of us is the champ. I don't see how it works. I can't put it together. I don't think it's possible.
No, there's. That fucking 4 team is still made up by a bunch of dudes in a room, right?
And chicks.
Okay. Dudes and chicks.
But let's not get deep into that.
Okay, but I'm saying, they're not just those people in that room are not gonna sit around and they're gonna even if they all talk through each spot and they rank each team at each spot, at the end they're gonna say, "Hey, are we really putting 2 Big Ten versus 2 SEC?
Right.
Let's look at this again."
I know.
You know what I mean? That's how I see that going down. Like, let's look at this again. Let's look at pull up the ACC
somebody
guy.
Pull
up the Pac-12.
The Big 12. Could a Baylor or Oklahoma or any of those teams, they run the table.
Yeah,
they have to be undefeated. Correct, but
but I think that whole conference is so mediocre.
Yeah, strength of schedule is
really
the problem.
Gels.
Yep.
But if one team really gels, they could run through it. And if you run through it and you're undefeated, you're getting in.
Yeah, I mean that's it. You got to run you got to get a conference champ 13-0. Yeah, you're getting in at 13-0. If you're in the Big 12, if you're in the Pac-12, you run the table, conference champ, you're going to be in. You're not going to get jumped over 1 loss.
Right. Okay, I want to run through 4 quick games. Let's get out of here in 5 minutes. Week 1, this is not week 0. Week 0 was garbage. Week 1, Shawn, if it smells like especially dirty hippie up in your neighborhood, it's because Colorado State is in town. Visiting Ann Arbor. Minus 28.
They'll love it there.
Yeah. It sounds like a terrible idea to bring those 2 types of people together. So Michigan favored by 28, over-unders 58. Let me throw another game at you. Cincinnati goes to Arkansas. Arkansas favored only by 6 at home, over-unders 52. Utah coming down to the swamp. They are favored. Traveling dogs don't lie. Minus 2.5, over-under 51 at Gainesville, at Florida. And then the big one.
2.5.
Yeah. At the big one that I'm interested in is Oregon coming down to Georgia. This is a quote-unquote neutral field game in Atlanta, which is in Georgia. 17. Georgia's favored by 17, and the over-under is 52. You guys have any quick thoughts on those 4 games?
I think I think Cincinnati takes a step back this year. I think they're going to go play in Arkansas that seems to be getting a little bit better. And
Go Hogs.
Yeah, I like Arkansas in that game. Oregon going to Georgia. Good luck with that.
Right.
What was the other game that you had in there?
Utah at Florida.
That's the game.
I think Utah handles that.
Shawn, you win if Utah wins by a field goal. You win. I'll take that with the 2.5.
That's away though,
Give me
dude.
Utah.
Coming down in September.
Oh, I like Utah.
Utah
I think it's going to be
all
more
day.
than that. I think it's going to be more than that.
All they got to win by
Utah's
is a
gonna go
field
down
goal,
there.
bro. Yo,
And that's the game that's going to actually get them in the playoffs because now they went
That's
on the
red-
road at an SEC team.
I agree.
Beat them.
I agree with that.
And
If they
Florida's
win,
Florida's gonna upset somebody this year. Florida, you know what I mean? So Utah's gonna have that.
Yeah. It's a
we
resume
went down to
builder.
Florida.
I get it.
Yeah, for sure. They only got to win by a field goal. That seems like good money. My money's going for it. You should put your money there too.
The conditioning is my concern. Most teams don't do well coming from the north down into Florida in September.
Your 30,000 foot view of Kyle Whittingham's fucking operation out there. You're worried about their conditioning?
No.
You don't think they're in altitude or by any chance, or you don't think they train hard?
As I'm saying,
It's
if
different.
you're used to playing in the
Why
mountains.
are you putting Utah's conditioning on?
Have you felt the humidity in the mountains?
You know where the fuck I live? Yes. I know.
All right. How about let's get a quick final choice with the points. Michigan and Colorado State.
Michigan by 28. You said 28.
Yeah.
I think Michigan covers.
They still haven't named a quarterback starter. So
Oh yeah,
this is going.
they have. Yeah.
No,
The
that's
first-
going. It's going through week 2.
Cade's the starter first week, and McCarthy's the starter the second week, and then they're going to see how it goes. That's it, right?
Yep.
So we got.
So that's
we got
not naming a
McNamara.
starter.
Exactly. The dude I was watching last night on TV was cracking me up. He's like, if you name one guy for 1 week and the second guy for the second week, that means you don't have a starter, Jim. You don't have a starting quarterback, Jim. What are you going to do?
What do you guys
These kids
have?
need to know something.
You think
He went off.
You think Colorado State covers or not?
No.
Michigan
They're
covers.
gonna
Michigan,
get
Michigan wins by 4.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Michigan covers.
All right.
Michigan will
let's
score
go.
50 points. It'll be like 50-10.
Yeah. All right. Excellent show, boys. Thanks for all the energy. People, how could you not be entertained? Please give us a review, subscribe, hit the bell, hit the fingers, hands up, whatever. And we appreciate you. Thanks, Jeff and Shawn. We'll talk to you next week.